හරිම සුමුදුයි.
Tonight, on First at 9 this Thursday, the 25th of January 2024. Tragedy strikes. State Minister Sanath Nishanta and his bodyguard meet a tragic end in the early hours of the morning. Jagat Priyankara tipped to take over the vacant seat. Development prioritized. Japanese ambassador to Sri Lanka pledges the resumption of halted development projects after debt restructure. Inept inefficiency. Central Bank governor lashes out at inept officials who fed politicians fables as the economy crumbled prior to the crisis. President pledges. President Wickremesinghe promises positive growth for 2024 amidst difficult measures that were adopted to resurrect the economy.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දෙනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක.
This is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening. A warm welcome to today's edition of AdaDerana's English News First at 9. You're with Jonathan and Benedict. Let's take a look at our top stories for this evening, starting with a rather sad one. Tragedy struck in the early hours of this morning when State Minister of Water Supply, Sanath Nishanta, and his bodyguard died when his SUV attempted to overtake a container and crashed into the guardrail of the Colombo-Katunayake Expressway. Along with the State Minister, who was 48 years of age at the time of his death, his bodyguard attached to the Minister's security division also died, while the driver of his vehicle is currently receiving treatment at the teaching hospital in Ragama. The final rites of the late State Minister is expected to be held on Sunday. Meanwhile, SLPP's Puttalam district candidate Jagat Priyankara, who contested the 2020 parliamentary election, is tipped to fill the seat that became vacant following the untimely death of Sanath Nishanta. At around 2 a.m. this morning, the SUV in which State Minister of Water Supply, Sanath Nishanta, was travelling in, rear-headed a container while attempting to overtake it and crashed into the guardrail of the Colombo-Katunayake Expressway, causing serious injuries to the State Minister, his bodyguard and the driver.
වැඩි අදින්න එපා මල්ලි. උස්සලම ගන්න පුතා.
Following the incident, the MP, along with his driver and his bodyguard attached to the minister's security division, were rushed to hospital. However, sources of the Ragama Teaching Hospital confirmed that State Minister Sanath Nishanta and his bodyguard Police Constable Jayakodi succumbed to their injuries. A father of 4, Sanath Nishanta was aged 48 at the time of his demise. The driver of the vehicle is currently receiving treatment at the Ragama Teaching Hospital. Following the news of Sanath Nishanta's untimely passing, parliamentarians flocked to the hospital to pay their respects.
සනත් නිශාන්ත මන්ත්‍රීතුමා ඊයේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ කටයුතු කරලා හන්දෑවේ ඔස්ට්‍රේලියන් හයි කමිෂන් එකේ තිබිච්ච උත්සවයට සහභාගී වෙලා කුරුණෑගල හා හලාවත එතුමාට ලැබිච්ච ආරාධනා උත්සව දෙකකට සහභාගී වෙලා එන වෙලාව අවස්ථාවේදී තමයි මේ සිද්ධිය වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. මොකද සනත් නිශාන්ත මන්ත්‍රීතුමාගේ මයි 9 වෙනිදා ගේ ගිනි තියලා තියෙනවා. එතුමාට නවාතැන් පොලක් නැහැ පුත්තලමේ. ඒ නිසා රාත්‍රියේම කොළඹ ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. එනකොට පාන්දර තමයි මේ සිද්ධිය ඇති වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. පක්ෂයටත්
Later, the remains of the State Minister and his bodyguard were examined by the Velisara Chief Magistrate, Dhammika Uduvavidana. Following the news of the State Minister's demise, President Ranil Wickremesinghe and former President Mahinda Rajapaksa arrived at his official residence in Colombo to pay their respects.
ඇමතිවරගේ අභාවය විපක්ෂයටත් රටටත් ජාතියටත් විශාල පාඩුවක් වශයෙන් දකිනවා අපි.
Meanwhile, the driver of the container in which the state minister's SUV collided was taken into police custody. Further investigations into the incident are currently underway. The condemned SUV belonging to the state minister was brought to the Kandana police station. At around 6 p.m., the remains of late State Minister Sanat Nishanta were brought to the Jayaratna funeral parlour in Borella. In the morning tomorrow, his remains are expected to be brought to his residence in Puttalam, with final rites expected to be held on Sunday. Following the death of Sanat Nishanta, Jagat Priyankara, who contested the 2020 parliamentary elections from the SLPP, is tipped to fill the MP seat left vacant. Priyankara is a member of the National Freedom Front, led by MP Vimal Veeravansha. Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe says that the country was affected by a crisis due to the failure of the officials who were placed in charge of the country's economy to execute appropriate measures in preventing it from exacerbating. He made these remarks when he was summoned to the Select Committee of Parliament to investigate causes for financial bankruptcy declared by the government. Speaking further, the central bank chief holds the view that the leader of the country needs to have sufficient knowledge and expertise on what's suitable for a country and its people, despite the considerations of public requests.
පිළිගන්නවාද මේ කොවිඩ් තත්ත්වයක් මේකට ලොකු බලපෑමක් සිදු කරා කියන කාරණා. කොවිඩ් ආර්ථික ක්‍රියාකාරීත්වය. ඒකට අන්තර මන්ත්‍රීවරු බ්ලැක් මාකට් එක නිසා සල්ලි නැතුවට ඇවිල්ලා ඉම්පෝර්ට් කරනවානේ කොට මිලියන් 2ක් දක්වා වගේ ඉම්පෝර්ට් මාසෙ. ඒ ෆයිනෑන්ස් කරේ ඔය වගේ වෙන මාර්ගින් දුන්නා. එතනින් තමයි ඒ අර්ථය වැඩක් නාට පස්සේ කොහොමදුනේ කියන එක හැමෝටම විශ්වාසයෙන් කරලා දරුණු ගන්න පුළුවන්. අවශ්‍යතාවය තියෙනවා. මේ මඩුවේ ඥාන මේ අවධානය දැක්කම ඒ දැක ඒ ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගැනීමට නියමිත උපදෙස් ඒ අවස්ථාවේදී ඉඳලා ලබා දුන්නා දැන් කියන තමයි මම මෙච්චර ඕනික් කියේ ඒ ඕනික් නොසලකා ඒක ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ සර් මෙහෙම මේක පුළුවන් මෙහෙම යන්න කිය ඒ අය මුලා කරේ එතකොට මේක හරියට වෙන හේතුව මම දකින දේ තමයි ජනතාවගේ විදිහට ඔබතුමාලාට දැනුම නැහැ කවුරුත් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්න බෑ චන්දන පත්‍රලා නියුක්තෙට රටේ ආර්ථික කර්මාකරණ කරන්න ඒ අවශ්‍ය කරන ඉදිරි දැක්ම පේනවා ඒ තමයි දෙන්න ඕන අධියට උපදෙස් මම පුද්ගලිකව මතයක ඉන්නවා අපි රට වහපු එක වැරදි කියන එක කියන ඔබතුමා ඒකට එකඟ වෙනවා ඒ ආර්ථික ක්‍රියාකාරීත්වය වෙන්නේ ඉතින් කරගෙන යනවා ඒ අතරතුර සහකාරීත්වය රට වැහුවොත් සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම එහෙමනම් අපිට තියෙනවා මන්ත්‍රීවරුන්ගේ හැකියාව අතේ සල්ලි තියෙනවා රට වහල ඉඳන් ගන්න පුළුවන් ඒ උපදෙස් සම්බන්ධව මාර්තු මාසෙ ගලා මම හිතන්නේ අප්‍රේල් විතර කෙටි කාලයක් තුළ ඊට පස්සේ පුතා මම දැක්කේ ජනාධිපති එක්සාට මහමුලා බැනගෙන ගිය දවස්. මේක ඉතින් පස්සේ ඒක මම කියන අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. ඉතින් පස්සේ මම කිසි දෙයක් කන්නේ නැහැ. වස්තුන් විසඳන්නේ. ඒකට මගේ පිළිකව එක් සමුදායකත්වයක් නෑ. මට දෙන්න තිබුණා වාදය මම කියන්නේ කරනවා කියන්නේ ජනතාවගේ එල්ලි මුස්රාශයක් වෙන පුළුවන්. රටක් විදියට පාලකෙක් විදියට තියෙනවා මොකද්ද රටට වඩා සුසු කියන්නේ.
On the topic of the economy, stressing that Sri Lanka has to do more to achieve growth, President Ranil Wickremesinghe pledged his commitment to guiding the country's progress in the coming years. Addressing an event in Biagama, the president said that the country's income has to be enhanced by transitioning its economic trajectory from negative to positive.
The inauguration of the newly constructed ancient Bodhi Prakara and golden fence at the Sabagaskanda Abesekara Rama was held this morning under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
මම මෙතෙන්ට ඒ ආණ්ඩුව බාරගත්තේ එදා ආර්ථිකය කැඩිලා තිබුණා. ඒ ආර්ථිකය නැති වෙන්න ගියේ. මිනිස්සුන්ට ජීවත් වෙන්න ආහාර තිබුණේ නැහැ. ආදායම් තිබුණේ නැහැ. ඉන්ධන තිබුණේ නැහැ. මේ රට බේරා ගන්න ඕන නිසා ආර්ථිකය හදන්න ඕන නිසා ඒක කරන්න පුළුවන් කියන විශ්වාසය තිබුණ නිසා මම මේ රටේ ජනාධිපතිකම බාරගත්තා. දැන් අවුරුදු දෙකක් ගිහින් තියෙන්නේ. අද අපි සාමාන්‍ය තත්ත්වයකට දැන් ක්‍රමානුකූල වෙනවා. බඩු මිල වැඩි වෙලා තියෙනවා. සමහර තැන්වල තාම ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා ණය ගෙවීම පිළිබඳ. මේ සියල්ලම තියෙන්නේ මේ ආර්ථිකයක් ආපහු ගොඩ ගන්නකොට ඇති වෙන ප්‍රශ්න. ඒත් අපි දැන්ට එතනින් ඉදිරියට ගිහින් තියෙන්නේ. ඒ නිසා මට අවස්ථාව ලැබුණා ස්විට්සර්ලන්තයට ගිහින් ලෝක ආර්ථික සමුළුවට සහභාගී වෙන්න. මේ සැරේ විශේෂයෙන්ම ගියේ ලංකාව බංකොලොත් භාවයෙන් නැහැ කියලා කියන්නේ. ඉතා කෙටි කාලෙකින් අපි එහෙම දියුණුුනේ ගැන බොහෝ දෙනෙක් පුදුමයටපත් වුණා. දැන් අපිට කාරණා දෙකක් තියෙනවා. එකක් තියෙන්නේ දැන් ණය ගෙවන්න. ඒ එකඟත්වයකට අපි එනවා. දැන් අත්සන් කරන්න තියෙන්නේ. අපි ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම එතනින් පස්සේ ආර්ථිකයේ ස්ථාවරභාවයක් තියෙනවා. නමුත් අපිට තාම ආදායම් මදි. ඒ නිසා අපි බලන්නේ රටේ ආදායම් වැඩි කරන්න. ඒ අවස්ථාවේ තමයි කනගාටුවෙන් හරි වැට් වැඩි කරන්න සිදු වුනේ. ඒත් දැන් අපේ ආර්ථිකයට මේ අවුරුද්දේ ඍණ ආර්ථිකයක් වෙනුවට අපි දියුණුවක් ඇති වෙනවා.
Japanese ambassador to Sri Lanka, Mizukoshi Hideaki, confirmed that Japan would firstly address development projects which were abruptly halted mid-term and complete these projects following the successful completion of the debt restructuring program. Speaking to Indivari Amawata on our current affairs program at Hyde Park on AdaDerana 24, the ambassador went on to state that the Japanese finance minister, Suzuki Shunichi, who previously visited Sri Lanka on the 11th of this month, was impressed by the progress Sri Lanka had made by implementing the newly introduced reforms. Ambassador Hideaki further added that the Japanese finance minister paid tribute to Sri Lanka's achievements in line with the agreement reached with the International Monetary Fund.
The projects that Japan supported Sri Lanka or were in agreement to support Sri Lanka came into question in recent times with Sri Lanka's cancellation of especially the LRT project. What stage this project is now?
It's true that this LRT project was cancelled unilaterally, with reasons not very persuasive, and it's very regrettable. But since President Wickremesinghe came to office, Sri Lankan government is apologizing the cancellations which has took place. They are now requesting start it again. And well, we are, of course, we have heard their request and it's noted, but it's still too early to make a decision because Sri Lanka is now still in the middle of, and there are also JICA projects which are now suspended because Sri Lanka is in default situation. So when this debt restructuring negotiation is completed, the first thing that we are intending to do is to resume the suspended projects, which is also very important. And suspended projects include like Bandaranaike International Airport project. And this time, when Minister of Finance came to Sri Lanka, he has visited the Bandaranaike International Airport and he saw the situation and he has understood now the tourists to Sri Lanka is expanding very rapidly, and he has understood the need to resume such project for the early development of early recovery of Sri Lankan economy. So I think those which have been were already ongoing and suspended, I think they are the ones that Japan will tackle first, and after that we will consider new projects which are being requested.
Ambassador, when you say there is some consideration for the resumption of these projects, while commenting on the resumption of such projects, the Finance Minister of Japan, Shunichi Suzuki, I think also focused on these projects.
I think because Japan was so much involved in supporting this debt restructuring negotiation, Finance Minister, who is responsible for all these negotiations, wanted to visit Sri Lanka and see the situation with his own eyes. And he was very much impressed by the ongoing reforms by Sri Lanka. In his meeting with the president, he has commended Sri Lanka for making improvements in economic indicators such as GDP. The GDP of Sri Lanka turned plus in the third quarter of 2023. 2023, and Sri Lanka has made a lot of improvement in inflation. I think from 2021 to 2020 it was almost 80%, but last 1 year it was a single digit, and perhaps even under 5%. And that was much better than perhaps expected. So the finance minister was very much impressed with that, and I think he has a recognition that Sri Lanka is achieving the objective that it has agreed with the IMF.
Leader of the Maubima Janata Party, Dilip Jayavira, says that his party stands committed to fulfilling the aspirations of the youth. Addressing an event held at his party headquarters, Jayavira said that civility, entrepreneurship, motivation and strategic planning will be highlighted as concepts to build a better base of a better future for the youth.
The program Praveshya, organised by the Maubima Janata Party with the aim of creating a politically literate and empowered youth, was held at the party headquarters in Borala today under the banner A Youth Discourse on Building a Happy Nation.
අපි අහලා තියෙනවා සමහර පක්ෂවල පක්ෂ නායකින් තරුණ සංවිධාන නොයෙකුත් දේවල් කියනවා මේ රටේ පවතින ආර්ථිකය ගොඩ ගන්න. නමුත් කිසිම නායකයෙක් වැඩපිළිවෙලක් අපිට කියන්නේ නැහැ. වෙන වෙල රැලි පස්සේ ගියේ නැහැ. අපි හොයලා බැලුවා අපිට එකතු වන්නට පුළුවන් නිවැරදි මාර්ගයක් තියෙන පක්ෂයක් තියෙන කොහෙද අපිට රට වෙනුවෙන් මොනවද කරන්නට පුළුවන් කියලා. එතකොට තමයි අපිට මේ මව්බිම ජනතා පක්ෂය සමග දිලිත් ජයවීර මැතිතුමාගේ නායකත්වයත් එක්ක අපිට එකතු වන්න ලැබුණේ.
අපිට නිවැරදි මතවාදයක් අපේ සහෘද තරුණයාට තරුණියට දෙන්න පුළුවන් නම් අපිට තිර වශයෙන් සාමූහික ගමනක් සඳහා ඔවුන්ව එක් කරගෙන යන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ නිසාවෙන් තමයි මේ ප්‍රවේශය වගේ වැඩසටහන් අත්‍යවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ. අපිට ජාතිවාදීන් වීමේ අවශ්‍යතාවයක් නැහැ. අපි විශ්වාස කරන්නේ නැහැ මේ සිංහල සුප්‍රීමිසම් එහෙම නැත්නම් බුද්දිස්ට් සුප්‍රීමිසම් විශ්වාස කරන ජාතිකත්වයක් නෙමෙයි. අපි විශ්වාස කරන්නේ මේ ජාතිකත්වය තුල අන්තර්ගත වුණු අපේ කම අපේ සුවඳ අපේ දැනුම මෙන්න මේවා අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා. අපේ මේ විශාල තේමාව පිටිපස්ස සංකල්ප හතරක් ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් අපි යොදා ගන්නවා. පළමුව සભ્યත්වය, දෙවනුව ව්‍යවසායකත්වය, තුන්වෙනුවට අවිප්‍රේරණය, හතරවෙනුවට උපාය මාර්ගික සැලැස්ම. මේ සංකල්ප හතර නිවැරදිව යොදාගත්තොත් විතරයි ඔබ වැනි තාරුණ්‍යයකට මේ රටේ අනාගතයක් ඉතුරු වෙන්නේ. අපි තව දුරටත් මේ තාරුණ්‍යයට ඔවුන්ගේ තාරුණ්‍ය අහිමි වීමට ඉඩ නොතිය යුතුයි. දැන් සතුටකින් ඉන්න නම් වැඩපිළිවෙලක් අවශ්‍යයි. ඒ සඳහා මව්බිම ජනතා පක්ෂය උපරිම ලෙස කැප වෙනවා මේ තාරුණ්‍යයේ අභිලාෂයන් වහාම ඉටු කර දෙන්නට.
Several parties continue to express their objection to the online safety bill which was passed in Parliament yesterday. In line with the expression of objection, Executive Committee member of the People's Struggle Movement, Vasanta Mudalige, stated that the online safety bill as well as the anti-terrorism bill is directing the country towards destruction.
A rally was organised by the People's Struggle Movement at the Ananda Samarakon Open Air Theatre yesterday against the online safety bill which was passed in Parliament. Several key points with regard to the online safety bill were presented at yesterday's rally.
සමාජ මාධ්‍ය වාරණ 50 ඊට කලින් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට දාලා තියෙන ත්‍රස්ත විරෝධී 50 හරහා මර්ධනයේ දිශානතියට කැස්ස කවමින් තියෙන්නේ.
පෞගිය කාලේ අරගලේ ශක්තිමත්භාවයේ සමාජ මාධ්‍ය තුල ඒකයි මේ 50 ගෙනාවේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ මේ 50 විරුද්ධ කතා කරපු දේශපාලකයන්ගෙන් අපි අහනවා මේ 50 සම්මත වුණාට පස්සේ කරන්නේ මොකද්ද කියලා කියන්න කියලා. ඒ නිසා තමයි අපි කියන්නේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවෙන් පිට බලයක් ගොඩනගී යුතුයි කියන කාරණාව.
හෙට ඉඳලා සමාජ මාධ්‍ය වල ලියන්න බැරි නම් අපි කියනවා අපි ලියනවා. අපි ලියනවා තනි මිනිහා පාරට බැලලා එක කියන්න පටන් ගන්නවා. හැම කටකින් මේක කියවෙද්දී උඹලා සමාජ මාධ්‍ය වහගෙන ඉඳපන්. ජනතා බලය පෙන්නන ජාතික විරෝධතාවයකට මූණ දෙන්න සූදානම් වෙලා ජනතා බලයට ජනාරගලයට.
In the meantime, the Inter-University Students' Federation held a protest in front of the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura last night in objection to the approved online safety bill.
An individual who was running and maintaining an illegal liquor distillery in Vadua was placed under arrest. On the same note, another individual engaged in illegal liquor production in Maharagama was also taken into police custody. With that, let's take a look at developments from around the island in brief.
An individual who was maintaining an illegal distillery in Vadua was apprehended by the Crimes Division of Kalutara. The distillery in question has been used to distribute illicit liquor in the area. Measures were taken by police to destroy a stock of Goda, which was prepared for the production of illicit liquor. In Maharagama, meanwhile, an individual who was engaged in maintaining an illegal liquor distillery was taken into police custody. Following investigations, it was revealed that the suspect had been distributing illicit liquor in the area, with the bottle priced at 1,500 rupees. In Mulleriyawa, the police were able to seize 3 swords stained with blood, an iron rod, as well as a hand grenade after investigating a suspicious 3-wheeler. 6 people were placed under arrest. Investigations revealed that the set of suspects had gone to a residence in Pintalia, attempting to commit a murder, and had injured the individual's father, as the intended person was not at the residence.
Welcome back. President Ranil Wickremesinghe highlighted that relevant measures that are being adopted by the government of Sri Lanka with regards to developing cocoa cultivation, further adding that discussions are in place with West African nations, Ghana and Ivory Coast to introduce cocoa. The President revealed that steps will be taken to establish the National Productivity Commission, stressing that increasing productivity is crucial in building a competitive economy.
The 30th annual general meeting of the Lanka Confectionery Manufacturers Association was held last evening under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
We have come through the worst economic crisis. We are not yet over. We have only negotiated to get time to pay another 20 years. That's not enough. Our balance of payment is not in our favor. Every year we'll have to borrow. If we go on like that, in another 10 years' time, what will happen will be worse than today. So now we've got to export. We've got to go out. So I think of myself, why not the confectionery industry? You have the potential. You can be good. So we've got to help you. Already we are discussing getting the lands. Some of the state plantations belong to the state. In Matale, Kandy, Mawatagama, Dodangas Landa to be given out for intercropping with cocoa. To look at the small holders who are willing to intercrop. Monaragala, where there is scope for cocoa. I will discuss with some of your members. We have asked Mr. Charita Ratwatta to take over, identify and restart the cocoa growing project we had in 2018. That's not all. We are speaking with the government of Ghana and the government of Ivory Coast to get you access to cocoa, a special way. So this is the way that we can start off. But there's much more to be done. It's not only chocolates, it's not ice cream, it's not only biscuits. There are so many things to be done. So all the plantations belonging to the state will be leased out to Sri Lankan companies or Sri Lankan companies with foreign shareholders, all to be used, not merely to develop the crop, but to be used in the food industry, which includes confection. We are establishing the National Productivity Commission. So if you have to have a competitive economy, our productivity has to increase. We are talking with India on upgrading the FTA into ECTA. So there are the non-tariff barriers we have to deal with. If we remove that, there's a good market for you there. We are willing to back up research. We want to modernize the TRI, CRI, amongst others. About 8 billion rupees this year for research. I don't think you are going to use it for research and development. So there are many ways in which the government will line up with. But we want an industry. We want a good industry. When I go abroad, I take with me the best of teas. It's world class. I take with me cinnamon. It's world class. How long before I can take chocolates and go?
Chairman of the Sri Lankan Tourism Promotion Bureau, Chalaka Gajabahu, was elected as the Vice Chair of the Committee on Tourism and Competitiveness of the United Nations World Tourism Organization. The Committee on Tourism and Competitiveness is focused on work mainly in assessing the state of knowledge on the basic concept of tourism competitiveness and identifying its key factors. The Sri Lanka Tourism Bureau pointed out that proceedings of the CTC also include identifying, developing and harmonizing concept models and operational definitions used in the tourism value chain. The newly appointed Vice Chair of the committee expressed his enthusiasm in being elected to the position and pledged to fulfill his role in the best way possible. He stated that he expects to further develop and enhance the competitiveness landscape, which is a vital tool in the tourism development globally. SLT Mobitel's M-Cash introduced an exclusive array of life assurance solutions tailored for its customers. In the meantime, Standard Chartered appointed the company's new head of human resources for Sri Lanka. With that, let's look at corporate news for the day.
SLT Mobitel's pioneering mobile money platform, mCash, introduced an exclusive area of life insurance solutions tailored for SLT Mobitel mCash customers in a bid to strengthen its long-standing partnership with Union Assurance plc. The collaboration marks an extension of a long-standing relationship between the two organizations initiated in 2014, which has achieved remarkable success by revolutionizing life insurance premium collection through SLT Mobitel's expansive network. The latest milestone in this partnership is the recent signing of a Memorandum of Understanding, solidifying the commitment of both organizations, acknowledged as among Sri Lanka's most trusted brands in mobile connectivity and life assurance. Standard Chartered, meanwhile, announced the appointment of Rukshila Senaviratne as the new head of human resources for Sri Lanka with effect from the 12th of January 2024. In her new role, Rukshila is slated to lead the country's people strategy and will join the bank's country management team. As part of her appointment, she will also assume duty as the co-chair of the bank's Internal Diversity and Inclusion Council. In other news, issuing a corporate disclosure, Singer Industries Ceylon plc announced that trading in shares of the company will be suspended from the 26th of January onwards. The company stated that the suspension was announced following the approval of shareholders, which was obtained for the amalgamation of Singer Industries Ceylon plc and Regni's Lanka plc with Singer Lanka plc.
That's all the news I have for you for now. I'm Jonathan Benedict. Have a blessed Friday ahead. Good night.